Good morning, friends. You doing good? Good. We're very close to the tail end of this class. You have survived a summer class. You did it. Good job. I'm proud of you. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I know we don't have everyone, but I'm hoping that they'll join. Let's start with prayer. Father God, I just ask that you would be present within our time together, that you would help our words be honoring to you, and that you would teach us something that will help us get closer and understand you more. I thank you for each person who is on this call and just ask that you would be with them and help them to make good choices in their lives, and just help us to realize how awesome you are. In your name we pray, amen. All right, friends. Here we go. I'm admitting a few more people. Before we got started today, I wanted to talk to you guys about something. This is my very first Zoom class. Some of you have been on Zoom classes before, right? But this was the first time that I have done it. I have done a lot of in-person classes, but this is a different thing. And one of the things that I have noticed over the course of our time is that as a person who is trying to see if you guys are engaged, I keep trying to make eye contact with all of you the whole time. And so I just want to point something out that I have noticed, and I'm laughing right now because Chase, you are the perfect example of exactly what I'm talking about. I can't see your eyes, Chase. There you are. I saw your ceiling. I couldn't see your face. And if you guys are trying to talk to me like this, there's a good chance you have zero interest in what I'm saying because my hat is not engaging to you. Also, if I have noticed, and something I have been talking to my kids about is cultivating a pleasant expression. You love the hat. Well, I understand the hat's pretty awesome, but we're just kind of clocked to make eye contact. If you're presenting and I have an engaged expression on my face and you happen to look up, will you be encouraged? Versus if I'm going like this. One of them is encouraging and the other one is not so much. So there are a few things like when you guys are chatting, I'm watching everything that's going on in the chat log because I'm looking for questions. And so like, I love that you harass each other and want that relationship, but when I'm trying to focus and I see your hat sucks, it's a little bit hard for me. So I just want to ask, like, if I were the one who was presenting one of these topics and you guys were chatting or text messaging each other in between, like, I would feel disrespected. And I'm hoping that you guys will continue to cultivate a respectful attitude towards one another. Does that make sense? Okay. So I just wanted to talk about that because, like, sometimes people will just do things or just, it's very distracting, my friends. I have issues and maybe it's my ADD coming out, but I have issues with it. So I know we only have a few things left, few class periods, but I figure this will not be your only Zoom class and I wanted to at least mention it so that you know for the future. I appreciate you guys. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about lending money to our friends and relatives. What was really interesting about this to me is that we actually talked about it last meeting a little bit, didn't we? You guys I know Rin was talking about not lending to friends unless she didn't care if she ever got it back. So I guess my question is, did anything that you read in these articles influence you or open up a different perspective? What was interesting? Lydia.
That it is, the Bible actually will speak positively about lending stuff to people. And I think in one of them it actually like said a few passages about having interest, but you want to make sure that it's fair and that you're trying to help someone and not just help yourself.
Okay, Kenna.
I thought it was interesting that most Christians would say that it's not like you shouldn't lend to people. I thought that was just interesting.
All right. Samuel.
Yeah, basically backing up what Kenna just said. I found it interesting how much they were going back and forth in the comments. I was looking through all that. It took me like forever because there was like a million, but it was really interesting how much they went, not, they didn't like change sides, but people would say, well, is this then a sin because you're saying that this probably is, and just how much debate there was on that.
Mm-hmm. Tyler.
I found it really interesting that you shouldn't like do interest, and if you do, it needs to be really low, because I've always had that like, well, yeah, have interest, but I had a thing like 3 years ago. A friend asked to borrow $100 from me, so I was like, okay, and then I asked him for how long and all that, whatever. He said about $10 a month. So I said, okay, but what about we do 1% interest? So that way I would get, if he really was serious about doing it, we give him motivation to actually get it done on time and stuff like that. So if you're gonna do something fair, like 1%, I don't see it's a bad thing because it shows that they're actually needing the money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is really interesting too, because have you guys ever taken a look at the wide variety of interest that is charged depending, well, let me back up. How do banks determine interest rates? Do you know that, or car companies or whatever? Chase.
I don't know why I raised my hand, 'cause I don't know. I thought I had an idea, but it wasn't a good one.
Okay, you rescind your knowledge. All right, Samuel.
A lot of it has to do with credit score. Because credit score shows how not willing you are to pay it back, what your record of paying it back is, so they know whether or not you're likely to pay it back, which is also what they look at when they're figuring out whether or not they actually even want to lend it to you at all.
Mm-hmm. So you can get anything from like, I think that the base federal interest rate right now is something like 4.5%. Now think about your savings calculator. You've been calculating that at 1%. And I know, Tyler, you have fascinated me. Your scores have been fascinating me because you're coming in underneath, like you're going into debt every single week with what you're doing. But because you had compound interest savings, you're not actually going into debt. Your savings are floating you through it. Have you noticed that? It's really interesting to me. So think about compound interest 1% and how that little bit can really make a difference over the course of time. And then I think the federal interest rate right now is right around 4%. It alters about, they meet every quarter and they decide what to do for interest rates. And because our country has been having so much inflation, they have been raising interest rates every quarter. Now, that's the lowest bit. But if you have a poor credit score, like what Samuel was saying, your interest rate might be 10% interest. Think about even the difference 1% makes and the difference that 6% can make over the course of a loan. Have you guys ever been driving around and seen those storefronts that say cash today title credit loans? Have you ever noticed those on the side of the corner? Okay, well, now you will. Now you'll look around and you'll see it. Those are places where you can go and they will loan you money with no credit check. Well, why would they take that kind of risk? Because the interest that they're charging is sometimes almost 30%, which is very much like the debt situation that you guys have been experiencing in this class, where once you get into it, like Ryan, They gave up on you. How could they give up on you? And Taylor, like once you get into those types of lending situations, you're just trapped. And so when you think about the biblical admonitions about interest rates, think about those two extremes of what it can look like. And that might give you more context for why the Bible even addresses this subject at all. Lydia, you've had your hand up for a while. Have I waited so long that you forgot?
I actually still remember. I saw on one of the websites there was something where you could input a certain amount of money, and it would tell you how much like you would earn on it for interest for like that's positive for you at different banks, I believe.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that you can be a smart shopper when you're choosing your bank. If you're going to have money that you're going to be putting in savings, then look around for who's going to give you the most money in interest. It's usually really low for savings, but some is better than none. So, okay. Let me think. So, Christians, I think that we already discussed the importance of making sure that you have clear understanding of what you're loaning, how much it's going to cost to pay back, when it's going to go, all of that. And I think that that was backed up within our readings today, wouldn't you say? Okay. Taylor?
I would just like to point out that I'm still ahead of everyone when it comes to debt by $3 million. 13. I'm $13 million, but Brian's 10 million, so I'm still 3 million ahead of everyone.
You're winning.
She's
You're winning. And I also feel compelled to say, as I have said before, this is a game. And so you should not be taking this personally.
I can at least say just for Ryan, this is how it's gonna happen in real life.
No, I hope it's not going to happen for any of you in real life like this. It's been, and I think another conversation to have is I look at the ones that are kind of hanging out in the middle, like Lydia and Ren. You guys are kind of hanging out there, but you're meeting all of your needs. Everything's getting taken care of. You're not on the high ends. And it makes me question, like, if this were a real life, what's the end goal? What do you really need in order to feel happy and successful? What does that look like? And I think it's just an interesting conversation. Anyway, do you guys have anything else that you'd like to say about the different, about the readings, borrowing, lending, and sharing? Lydia.
So I actually have two things, but first, do you want us to share like the thing that we wrote down in our notebook
If you
based on the article?
if you'd
So
like-
the last thing that I lended to someone was a deck of cards, at least to my best remembering skills. But I lent it to someone, and then I was on a beach retreat with my youth group, and so I lent it to someone for them to play with other people. But then when I got it back, one card was missing and another one was torn. So I decided to not lend any of my deck of cards to people unless I completely trust them and know that they'll be very careful, and not share it with a bunch of people that will not be careful.
Okay, let me flip that on you for a second. If you are the person who has borrowed and you have lost a card and torn a card, what do? Tyler?
I
Get a new deck.
Yeah, like one of the things these articles didn't talk about is what it is to be the borrower and what your responsibility is as the borrower. If you ruin something that someone has given to you and trusted you with, you make it better than what you got. You make it right. That's just how it is, in my opinion. Let me tell you, that's my opinion. That's very valuable to me. But I mean, I do that even with our kids. If you're borrowing something that's a toy or a set of markers or whatever else and you ruin it, then you need to fix it and make it better. And sometimes you can't know that you have done that without a hard conversation. So those are okay to have too.
What were you saying? My thing completely froze for like 15 seconds.
The nutshell of what I was saying is if you ruin something, make it right. How about?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah. What about when you're loaning something to your siblings? How does that change things? Tyler?
You don't do it. You only do it if, like, the only thing I'll ever loan to my siblings is like my laptop, maybe if I'm there. But yeah, I don't know if I'm trying, but I don't really trust you.
Mhm, mhm.
Like, there are some things I will trust you with, but the reason why I wouldn't trust you because you don't know how to do it the way I would do, and it would really bug me.
Okay. Kenna?
If it's disposable, I'll lend it to them.
So if it has little value to you. Okay. Do your parents have things they won't let you touch?
Guns.
Okay. Did you just say guns? I didn't know if it was guns like pow pow or tons they won't let me touch. Poo poo. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. Ryan?
I would loan my siblings almost anything if they really needed it, but I don't think that's how all my siblings feel.
It is interesting how that works, huh?
I would,
I'm the
Ryan, but when would you ever need something?
Tyler, you're a very needy kid.
All right, this is what happens when siblings get on phone calls together. Well, I think it's just a really interesting concept. So if have integrity, if you're the borrower, have integrity, return it in the condition you got it or better, or return it in full, follow the rules, make sure that you're clear. And if the person that you're asking to borrow from doesn't offer those terms, so to speak, of what needs to be paid back when, like what Tyler was saying, then as the borrower, you initiate the conversation and come up with a plan for how you're going to repay it and take it seriously. Miss Lydia?
You don't want it to be really awkward later when you're giving back the money, and then it can be awkward for both sides to like give stuff back.
Yeah, and a lot of that's just conversation, just making sure that you understand each other. So, okay, let's move on to our action card assignments. I'll pull these out. All right, Chase, would you kick it off for us? This is when I'm going to practice cultivating a pleasant expression while Chase talks.
It was like the songwriters, right? It wasn't it the songwriters? Yeah.
That was the happy birthday.
All right. Yeah. So songwriters are paid in a 3-way royalty like cycle. The current rate is like 9.1 cents on how much money they make. I think every dollar probably, but mechanical royalty is one of the royalties they can get paid in. And mechanical royalty is when a songwriter sells its like album in stores on like CDs and stuff. So you'll get paid if you get a song into like albums that are selling. A performance royalty is when a songwriter has a concert or he's on like a radio show or something. And sync fee is when like a movie, you know how they have to get okays with the songwriter and artist before they put it in their movie. If a movie goes into a movie or song goes into the movie, they get a sync fee. Sorry.
You're good. Okay. Did you know that there's a reason why people don't sing happy birthday in restaurants all the time anymore?
No.
There was a lawsuit that the person who wrote Happy Birthday is demanding that every restaurant who sings it pay them royalties every time they sing the song. And so if you go out to a restaurant, it's really rare for restaurants to sing Happy Birthday to anybody. You'll notice that they have their own Happy Birthday song now. And it's because of that lawsuit. Okay, thank you, Chase. Lydia.
Okay, so my action card topic was becoming a magician, which seems to get you a lot of money. It's very surprising. Party entertainers in my area, and these are just some of them, are balloon twisting, face painting, costume characters entertainment. I think that's when they dress up as certain characters from movies or books or stuff like that. Magicians, trampoline parks, marionette theaters. I know there's at least one of those in our area. My brother had a birthday party there quite a few years ago. There's dancing and clowns. There's more stuff too, but that's all I could find. The magician's salary, annually, the average is $38,596, and that's from a range of 16,640 to 74,880. And then most magicians work on nights or weekends because most of them have full or part-time jobs in addition to being a magician.
Okay, thank you. It's your weekend extra money gig. All right, Tyler.
Okay. The pros and cons of hand-me-down clothes. Okay, this was really interesting for me. So can be quite a few pros to having hand-me-down clothes. Like, for one, they're usually cheaper and you don't have as much of a sentimental value to them because you usually didn't pay full price, or you just were gifted them from a friend or family member. So there's not like a big incentive to keep them as if you paid for them and you can't return them. But some of the pros would be cost less. Oh crap, it just disappeared. Hang on. Sorry. Where'd it go? Okay. Yeah, it's cheaper. It's easier to get, easier to find. There's more of them. And usually it's just a whole lot easier all around. Some of the cons to them, you won't get what you want. Like, you won't get your style, you won't get your exact size, you won't get this and that. To me, that doesn't really matter. I don't even know if I get used or new clothes. So I don't know the difference. But some other cons might be they might be carrying some diseases, but that's pretty rare. Like, I forgot, I didn't write down where it was, but at one place in time, there was a disease that was spread through someone didn't wash the clothes correctly at a place. So if you're really concerned about that, then don't get used clothes, just get new ones. But if you're not really concerned about it, then yeah.
Well, also wash your clothes every single time, whether they're new or used, before you wear them. Scabies is something that you get from clothing, or bed bugs. It scares me. I'm one of those people. So thank you. I also believe that used clothes are one of the greatest gifts on the whole earth, because they just keep going. You get one and you share all around, and they just keep sharing, and it's fantastic. So, all right, Miss Taylor. Oh, I'm sorry, Lydia. Taylor, you're next.
So-
Lydia's question first.
So my grandma actually gave me a whole bunch of her shirts that she didn't really wear that much, and so I have a bunch of shirts that she just gave me because she doesn't wear them a lot.
Yep. It's one way to make the world go round. So nobody loves bed bugs, Tyler. I need you to realize bed bugs are bad, bad, bad. All right, Taylor.
All right, I got bartering boss. So I looked up bartering and this is what I found. The first thing you need to know about bartering, this is the sentence I have written down. You ready? The first thing you need to know about bartering, it what you want.
Sounds like that was a very thorough writing assignment that you did there.
Well, it was supposed to be is to know what you want, but I skipped the is and to know. So it what you want. The worst thing you can do is go into things without a plan and come back with junk you don't need or want. It's okay to settle for something a bit higher or lower than your goal was, as long as both parties can agree that they're satisfied. Don't blame a bad price on the seller either. You both had a hand in the final price. If you're happy with the product, there isn't much unhappy with the product, there isn't much to be done after the sale has been completed. Don't be afraid to ask questions about the product or test it out beforehand. Bring a partner or +1 to help. Do your research beforehand in the area you're looking at, so you know what the best price is and what the worst price is, so that you know what you can bounce between those lines. If your partner is more knowledgeable, then ask for help or tips on what you want, what to do and what not to do. Remember to test the things you're trading or bartering for so you know what you're getting into. Don't barter for something you don't want or that doesn't work, because oftentimes you will get extra what you barter. You will get exactly, it says extra fly what you barter for. Oftentimes you'll get exactly what you barter for when you don't need it. Look for red flags and be skeptical when necessary. If the product doesn't seem legit, then investigation could save you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Taylor. Did you ever give us what the definition of bartering is?
No, but I can look it up really quick.
Oh, no, just tell me from your brain.
Bartering is basically when you have an item and you may not have the money to get that item, but you have the skills or the other things like trading back and forth. You can trade skills, manual labor, random objects, like if you have a pink flamingo it's in your backyard and you don't want it, but somebody else may want it and you wanted that red wagon from the neighbor, you'd be like, hey, you want this pink flamingo? I'll trade you for that wagon. And that's how you do that.
There you go. All right, yes, Lydia?
I've been listening to the book Little House in the Big Woods, and one of the things that was in there was Pa going to town to trade his skins that he had gotten over the winter and fall for like sugar and fabric and stuff like that. So that was a sort of bartering that they had to do it for each individual skin.
Absolutely. It doesn't usually involve currency. Like it's not cash, it's items for items. All right, Ryan.
Ryan, unmute.
Sorry. I had to research how often people don't put they hide their money instead of putting it in a bank. And I found that 29% of people would rather not put it in a bank, either because they don't trust a bank or other reasons. And I also had to research pros and cons to not putting it in a bank or putting it in a bank. And some pros were that some pros to not putting it in a bank are you can get to it quicker, because if you need money immediately and it's in a bank, you have to like either drive, stuff like that. And some disadvantages to not putting it in a bank is it banks are typically way safer than like your home safe, because they have security guards, cameras, and big vaults. But I also found 2 out of 100 robberies are bank heists. So yeah, it's pretty much all I found.
Okay. So if 30% of people like to hide their money, that would be 3 of the people on this call are stashing it out in the backyard in a hole. All right, Kenna, you're next.
I'm one of the whole persons. So I'm in debt because no one can find my money.
I'm one of the bed people. It's under my bed.
Don't tell everybody.
I don't have a bank account yet.
I'm a wallet guy.
Okay. I sold a car. It was a very nice car, and I bought an even nicer car with all of that money. So yeah, thumbs up. I researched the pros and cons of selling to a dealership versus selling to a private party. If you sell to a private party, then you could get more money than what the dealership might want. It could sell immediately or it could not sell immediately, depending on what kind of car it is and then if people want that car at the moment. It may take some time posting your vehicle and getting to the buyer. And once you get to the buyer or the buyer comes to you, there's a good possibility that they may be like, nah, I don't want this. Selling to a dealership, they handle all the paperwork, at least that's what I found. So you wouldn't have to sit there for hours signing a bunch of paperwork unless, I don't know, unless it's like a really crazy car or something. Tax breaks in most states when buying another car. The offer may be slightly lower than what you want or what it would have been if you sold to a private party. And it could take a little bit to actually drive out of the dealership with the car. Yeah, that's basically what I found.
Thank you. Is not here. Elijah. I'm just gonna, while you're getting ready, Elijah, I'm looking at your chat stuff. So did you know banks have to be FDIC insured? That happened because during the Great Depression, which Samuel has had to research, the banks closed and they did not give money back. They had nothing, they had no insurance. And so now the reason that you have FDIC, and it's only up to a certain amount, I think like our credit union is like $100,000 per an account, which means if you have $200,000 and something happens, they're only paying you back $100,000. So the FDIC insured amount for each bank is slightly different, and that's something that you should pay attention to. Yes, Tyler.
Oh, Lydia, you can go first. She had her hand up first.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry, Lydia. You go first and then Tyler. And then Elijah, it's you.
So would it be better perhaps to have, if you had, say, $500,000 that you wanted to put in the bank, would it be smarter to make 5 individual bank accounts? That way you could get all your money back?
I would. I would never keep all of my money in one location, period, ever. I like hidey holes and diversification. Tyler?
Okay, so basically, so they have to be insured. So does that mean, okay, this is gonna get confusing really fast. But basically, if they've insured like tons of banks and then they run out of money, what happens? Like, okay, so say tons of banks got robbed. No, that's probably wouldn't happen. But I'm trying to make this clear in my mind. And then that company had to pay all the banks back, blah, blah, blah. But then they couldn't pay them back, what would happen? And how do those insurance companies get the money from the, like, where do they get the money to pay them back?
So the banks are paying for insurance, just like you are paying when you get a car. You purchase insurance for your car, and that just goes on and on and on as long as you have the car. So let's say it's 100, let's do round numbers. It's $100 a month. Well, you may never ever use any of that insurance money. In fact, they count on the fact that you won't ever use insurance. And so over the course of a period of time, they will end up making money off of you because of the money that you're paying just in case. It's the same concept with the banks. So insurance only can lend what they can get the money to pay back. And banks do this too, because they lend money, right? Your credit union is going to lend money. They can only lend money that they can afford because people have given them money that's hanging out in savings accounts and things. So the savings account that you're getting paid to put your money in there to keep it safe, they're actually taking your money and spending it on other things. It's not just sitting there waiting. You give the bank $100,000, say I'm the bank. So all of you guys give me $100 in your savings account. Well, now I have, how many of us are there right now? I have $800. I don't just hold on to it and sit there. I say, ooh, I would like to loan $800 over here to Mia. And Mia, I'm going to charge you for that $800 at 5% interest rate. But all of you guys who gave me your $100, I'll give you 1% as a thank you for letting me have that. That's why banks make money. So the insurance company does the exact same thing, except they have a whole lot more dollar or zeros following all of the money. But the insurance companies, the banks are paying them their payments. The insurance company is using that to lend out money on a different arm of what they do. But overall, the government will get involved if they couldn't pay out their insurance and make it work. Yeah,
This is a really, really dumb question,
probably not.
but okay, so if the insurance companies are paying for like the insurance, whatever, what happens if their money gets robbed? Like, they're probably storing it in banks, correct?
Yeah,
So,
sometimes that can happen. If you look at like, gosh, this may even have been, I don't know if you were even born yet, but when President Obama was in office, they did a major bailout to banks and credit card companies. The government gave them money because they had huge instability and they couldn't pay their bills. So we, as the United States government, I think it was trillions of dollars that we bailed out these companies because they were too big to fail. And so the government shored up the problem. And I actually don't know if they've ever returned that money. Like if you look right now, the United States government owes money to certain countries and other countries owe money to us. It's this like, and it's like billions of dollars. Vietnam owes us money for fighting the Vietnamese war for them. It's complicated. It's super complicated, but it's really like what you said, insurance is a gamble. This way that money changes across the globe is really fascinating, and it does not make logical sense to the average budget. Lydia?
Two things on how income countries lend money to each other. So the first one is if the monies are lending money to each other, then the people who exchange currency for other currency, they probably make a lot of money on that.
Oh, they do that. That's a transaction fee.
Yeah. And then also, if two countries each owed money to each other, wouldn't it be easy just to like cancel out their loans until only one owed money?
But
Do
some
they
of
do
them
that?
are counting on the interest rates that they're getting.
So
Yeah.
they're trying to make money on their.
Lydia, you are right. That is logical, good sense. That does not happen because there's too many players and there's money being made every single time it switches. And every single transaction has a different set of rules. So, okay, Elijah, sorry, we're getting sidetracked a little. Focus, I'm focusing.
Okay. So, talent shows. So, talent shows are supposed to be ways that people can get rich and famous quickly. But it is true to a certain extent that that could happen to you, but for the most part, it doesn't. So there's a lot of different reasons why somebody would not end up winning. For the first thing, there's often thousands of people trying out for a talent show that don't ever actually get to be on it. But even the few people that do get to be on it, there's only going to be one winner. So you could end up with several thousand people that tried out, or even, I'm not sure how many that got on, but they never got any money or fame or popularity or anything from it. And another reason is the people who make the shows will actually selectively edit interviews with the contestants and about anything they can to try and determine the outcome a little bit. Because often what the people are competing for is not just a large prize in money, but also maybe, if they're a singer, contracts with the recording company or something like that. So that's basically how they do it.
Okay. So some get lucky and some never do.
I thought I had more, but I guess I don't.
All right, thank you. Samuel?
Okay, so I had my vacation rental cleaning service. It pays very well. You guys should try it sometime. So if you were looking forward to specific payments, like specific numbers for prices and all that, I did not end up getting those because I looked it up online. The prices were all over the place, depending on whether it's a mansion, whether it's in the USA, or even say Papua New Guinea, for example. They vary so differently. I could get strict ones on some, like per year, and then others that were like per day, per month, per week. So that didn't work. So then I tried to contact some people that I know that do actually clean mansions for vacation people. That didn't work either because they were ironically going to go clean that. So if all that to say, if you were looking forward to those numbers, you're not going to get them. So instead, I looked up 3 places around the world that are often gone, that people often go to. So the Great Barrier Reef is one of the top places that people will go. So if you want to go to the Great Barrier Reef, it's in Australia, by the way. If you go to the Northern Reef, that's better if you're going April through December. Then there's a lot of smaller, but a lot more colorful fish and coral there. If you go to the White Sundays, then, which is basically a bit further south, then that is larger but less colorful fish and marine life. Then the oh, and the prices for that, I got a general idea. Because they're just hotels, it'll just vary probably around what you could get here. Because it's just a hotel that you could get there, unless you wanted to go some expensive place. Then Cairo, those ranged, like I found a place, they weren't cheap. There was a place that was $1,176 for a week about to stay, and another one that was $1,168 for 5 days, I think it was. Anyway, so yeah, they're not cheap. So if you want to go on a vacation to one of these exotic places, just be ready to make it either a short trip or have plenty of funds for it. And then finally, Paris, the Eiffel Tower. That one, the average is $677.83 per night, which I found a very large sum over even the course of 3 days. So again, you're going to want considerable sums of money for a very short trip. Other than that, while you're at a place like that, it's often something that you may want to look at just visiting. So say you're at the Eiffel Tower. Okay, well, now I'm close to Iceland and or closer to Iceland, and I've always wanted to go there, so you might as well. You could head over there. So just making the most of your trip. Don't just like go out to Paris for 3 days and then come right back and use all that money for almost nothing.
Okay, thank you. I will still like say if you live someplace like Lake of the Ozarks or Sedona, having a vacation rental cleaning business is a very good business. I would say you get paid on average $30 to $40 an hour to be the cleaner. All right, Tyler.
My Nana, well, grandparents, they have a 30-person mansion type thing, and they rent it out, and they're able to charge like $1,500 a night, like for it, and it's insane. And they're gonna raise their prices again to I think 2,000. It's really sweet. And then
Yeah, it's a thing. So some places can support that, other places can't. But I was shocked because we have friends who do vacation rental cleaning, and even our underage kids could start cleaning and getting paid very well to do those cleanings. So that was why that conversation came in. I believe all of you have done your action cards, right? I'm looking around, you all presented today. All right, let's do drawing. Are you ready for this? I've got to get my pen ready so I can write it down. All right. First one is gonna be Elijah. Baseball through the window. Pay $20,000 to the bank. All right.
which son of yours did that, or daughter?
He has many to choose from, I think. Research how much windows cost and discover what it would cost to replace all the windows in your current home. Kenna. You left the oven on. Each player pays $10,000 to the bank. So that's all of you.
Why did we pay for her mistake?
What?
This is
I'm very
unfair.
confused how that works, but
Let me tell you about it.
We don't live in her house.
Everyone's mad at Kenna right now.
Yeah, let's throw Kenna out a window.
Wait, I have a question. So is it that like Kenna was house sitting or something and she left the oven on in our houses?
Hold on, you're about to find out. Research the tax cost in your area to fund your local fire station. What are the most common calls they answer? So you're all paying because she's the community service of the fire department.
It's house calls. That's the most. Yeah, or cats up trees.
Well, this is what you're gonna have to tell us we're paying for as taxpayers.
Oh, and Tyler, there's a word for throwing someone out a window. It's called defenstration. Defenstration. Oh, defenstration.
It's
All right.
very weird.
Tyler's next. Laundry marathon. Collect $10,000 from the bank.
Was that me or Taylor?
That was Tyler.
Okay.
And most people spend between $180 to $600 on laundry detergent every 390 loads, about a year. What is the most economical way to do laundry?
Give it to your kids.
Ryan.
Just go back to the days on the prairie and make your own soap and wash it by hand.
We'll find out. Tyler's gonna tell us. All right, Ryan, you own a Shire. Pay $50,000 to the bank. Research which countries allow you to own square foot of their land as a foreigner. Are there maintenance costs of owning land in another country? Are there any associated responsibilities for that land ownership? Chase. Feeling blue. Pay $10,000 to the bank.
You're probably sad because you had to pay 10K to the bank. It's probably why you're feeling blue.
Research how many Americans experience depression. Are there economic consequences to this illness? What are some steps one can take to treat depression? Mia is not.
That's Samuel.
Give that one to Samuel.
Well dries up. Pay $40,000 to the bank. Okay, and that is
Is that for Maya?
Mia. Research the cost of drinking water. Do you have your own well or are you part of a water company? What are the pros and cons of each option? The next one is Maggie. Refrigerator loses its cool. Pay $20,000 to the bank. Research the cost of buying a new refrigerator versus repairing your old one. What types of things should you consider when buying the new appliance? Samuel. You're feeling antsy. Collect $10,000 from the bank. Research how many Americans experience anxiety. What are the pros and cons of this illness? Are there any natural treatments for anxiety? Taylor.
Diet.
Pay taxes. Pay 30% of your gross income to the bank.
I'd rather go to the bank or go to jail for tax fraud. Thank you.
What is your gross
How much
income?
am I paying?
I don't know what your 30% is.
30% of what money? I have no money.
Your gross income. You do get money. You get paid money every single week. So 30.
Give it to us, Taylor. We can actually
You-
do something with that money.
You get the money, but then you lose it like 4 times over.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, right? You're in the vicious cycle. All right.
All you have to do is just go bankrupt or whatever that word is. Just file for bankruptcy and then you're out of debt.
Just like that. All right. Lydia, you,
Who is going to pay $13 million of debt for me?
If I had them,
you got mugged.
I will. I'll just go in debt
I don't.
tremendously.
Pay $50,000 to the bank.
Is that for me?
That's you, Lydia.
Wait, so I got
Are you in debt now?
Research the various crimes in your city. What is the most common?
Wait,
Are some types of crime covered by insurance? What is not covered?
Am I allowed to fight them back and not have to pay 50K?
No,
What?
you can't fight back. This is a game. It's a terrible, unfair game.
Wait, so did they steal money from me or was it for injuries? And if it is injuries, then how am I able to still work as a doctor? And if it wasn't injuries, then why did I have 50K in my wallet?
You're gonna have to figure this out, friend.
It doesn't really make sense.
Maybe you're going to lend to a friend, so you had to have the money on you.
For Rin, she got
What'd you say?
Maybe you were lending money to a friend, and that's why you had to have the money on you.
All right. Rin has chickens all in the backyard and received $10,000 from the bank. And she is having a flock of chickens. Is it a good investment? What are some of the pros or cons to maintaining chickens? Does it matter where you live?
You
Okay,
have to kill half of them if they're roosters.
okay, so just so you know, I have realized as I am drawing this that I don't have enough action cards left for the next two classes. This is all that's left.
Just
So
mix all the old ones up with all the new ones and just draw from a huge bag.
we could mix them up,
not the fired ones.
or I could come up with some extra ones.
Yeah,
and
don't
figure this out.
add any more fired ones or moved ones since like some people
Put
might have
tons of
sold their
tech
things
ones.
because they were told
I
that they
kind
were.
of feel like I should add go bankrupt.
How about car wash? We haven't done anything about a car wash yet. And we're coming up, and my mother has lots of ideas. So
All right, I need you guys to give me some
There
ideas
should be.
because
There should.
we need 11. So we won't draw action cards on our last day of class, which is Tuesday, 1 week from now. So I need 1, 2, 3. I need 5 more ideas.
Could there be a move permanently to a house of your choice?
Send it.
That
to
would be a fun one.
I'm not gonna be able to think about this stuff in my brain right now.
I got it.
Oh, Tyler, he has it.
Xbox explodes. House burns down. You have to move.
Hit reply and put these on, like, tell me what you need to add in here, Ryan. Divorce, yeah,
I had one question. Can I give everyone that's in debt enough money to get them out of debt?
throw it in as an action card suggestion. We'll see what we can do. If I have more, then that would be even better because then we'll
No,
still,
like out of my money.
well, I don't know.
I just go like $20 million in debt.
He just wants to spend as much money right now to get
But
everyone
you
else
could-
out of debt and continue himself getting in more debt.
The trick
You
is
could have it.
right now,
action
you're a really bad gamble. You're a bad proposition. Your credit rating is very poor.
What you could
It's in
do
the
is have,
negatives.
what you could do is have an action card that you get to choose one person who is in debt, and the bank gets to pay them all the money to make their like balance go back to zero or something.
Win the lottery.
Okay. All right, well, throw, like,
Okay.
for real, legitimately, today or tomorrow, send it to me in email so I can make action cards out of it.
Okay.
Who wants to roll for housing? Anyone? Lydia's gonna roll, all three of you. Oh,
No, yeah, Elijah has a question.
Elijah has a question. You don't want to roll for housing. What can I do for you, Elijah?
I was just wondering, can you make all the other ones coin collector?
It's in there. Like, I saw it. I saw it and I thought, this is the one Elijah's been waiting for. Look at that coin collector. You're waiting for it.
If I get it, I'll give you all the profits.
If I get coin collector, I can trade our action card topics.
All right, all right. Okay, so housing roll, Lydia?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay, the answer is 4. It fell onto my lap. I can see that. Let's see what it's gonna be. Basement, cabana, suburban dream, or the cozy cottage.
All I want is the farmhouse. That's all I want.
I like to break your heart. All right, Samuel, you want the farmhouse too, don't you?
No, wait, I have the farmhouse. Can I give her my role?
You can.
I know the pain of wanting the farmhouse.
Thank you.
4 on the next roll. Starter home. Family house. Beach hut. Farmhouse.
Yay!
All right. Lydia wants.
Thank you, Samuel.
I have a piece of advice. Since your house is like 100 grand already, why don't you just like try and get the friend's couch and then just pay the fine? It'll only be like 60K, I think.
Yeah, I want to do that, but apparently you have to be in a house that fits you if you have the option. Makes no sense.
There are occupancy laws in pretty much every city. Just so you know. That is like a real legitimate thing for grown-ups. It's terrible to be a grown-up. I recommend not doing it for as long as you can. So
Also, I got the divorce card, but it was before
early.
you had kids. So the only way I could get kids is if I had the option to adopt kids, and that would be very interesting. So that's why that card was like taken out. Or something.
hidden away from before. Ryan,
I should get into as much debt as I can and then get the divorce card.
that would be an option, except I think we drew it and it was the wrong time, so I put it in the used pile. So. All
Put
right.
it back in. We need it.
All right. Anything else? Elijah.
Can I give $100,000 to anybody who is less than that wants it?
Okay, so anyone who has less than that would be.
I'm pretty sure that as of this, I'm definitely less than $100,000. But if
Can
you're
I
doing it as of
some?
last week,
I think I have less than $100,000.
Hold on, let me see.
Don't give it to the debtors, people. It's put them in debtors
Oh
prison.
wait,
I
maybe
already
I
have the money. Leave me alone.
All right, so that would be Chase, Maggie, Ryan, and Taylor.
wait. Did I have 110?
You, as of the standings from week 14, or for week 13, you had 119.
Ah,
So,
I'm not gonna have that much anymore though.
Chase, do you accept Elijah's compassion gift?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
Can I
raise
get
it to
compassion
100.
gift?
all right, so to Chase, Maggie, I know she'll say yes, but she's not here, so we'll just assume. Ryan, do you accept it? No.
Ryan, accept it and then give it to me.
All right, Taylor, do you accept it?
No,
Give
No?
it to me.
All right, it
I'm
looks
gonna
like
see how
Elijah
much more in debt I can get by the
They're
end
gonna
of
go
the.
as far as they can.
I'd like to raise the limit to 125,000.
Oh, Lydia, do you accept that?
Yes, thank you.
All right,
Plus, by the end of this week, I will be definitely under 100K, except for that. So thank you.
okay. Oh, I just broke my pencil. What else can I do for you guys? I'm breaking things over here at the end of class.
I'm willing to still sell my career role.
$1 million
if someone
right
would
here.
like
I'll
to
buy it.
What?
I'll buy it for $1 million.
You don't have $100 million to buy it with.
Okay, I will do that. I will do that. I will sell it to you.
I cannot allow this transaction. It has no money.
Wait, but
The
I thought we
government's
could
stepping in
sell
on
like
this one.
All right, Taylor.
Wait, so do you want to buy the career mode, Ryan, for $1 million?
I can't.
I
Can
cannot
I?
allow the transaction.
I thought that everyone could still do stuff like they could share money even if they were in debt.
Like with the bank. Taylor,
You said, what can you do for us? You can snap a crayon for me, please. Please just snap a crayon.
just broke my pencil. I've never done that before. Very violent, wound up. All right. If we are all good, then let us say goodbye. End the class. See you on Thursday.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.